A wise man as soon as said sticks and stones would possibly ruin my bones, but words are ghosts, and it's what haunts me for sure. I recognize you're probably wondering how mere words may want to have such strength over your life. But the fact is, phrases are more powerful than you would think. If you did not know, words or speech should without problems decide whether a man or woman will quit up terrible or rich. On today's agenda, we'll be displaying how exactly the prosperous humans suppose exclusive butane the poor. You'll be surprised to examine a few NO words that may assist tightly closed your financial future. So continue to be tuned, as these days on M.Barnett channel, as we'll be exploring how rich people think as compared to terrible people. 1. Poor people speak with the I can't mentality. The distinction between most rich and bad human beings is based totally in most cases on their thinking. You ought to ask yourself, what's the first idea that crosses your thought when confronted with a difficult situation? If the ideas at the return of your mind says I'm a loser, telling you you cannot do it, then you need to do a serious audit on your mentality. Just like the infamous philosophers discovered, the theory of the half-full, half-empty glass is similar in such a scenario. To come to be rich, you first need to alternate your questioning and develop a pattern similar to that of a prosperous man. Many of us do not comprehend that these prosperous tycoons out here were mere normal residents before succeeding. What stored them going used to be their robust ambition and mindset. Because of such great men, these days we're privileged to trip the art-crafted work of developer Bill Gates. Even after failing severally, Bill Gates in no way lost hope in his dream, which finally became a reality. Poor people have clouded their judgment based on their current situation, refusing to see the greater picture. You by no means recognize what a simple I will attempt once more can get you until you do it. The trap right here is that we want to see and think backyard the box. That means you scrap the word can't from your vocabulary for good. Once your thought starts proclaiming success, you'll find it easier to outmaneuver through the thickest situations in life. The reality is that the negative are continually complaining. Barring understanding, complaints get you nowhere. Better yet, attempt proclaiming success and embracing success as phase of you and see how things will change for the better. What you pick out with the mouth is what you bind yourself. 2. So subsequent time be cautious what you say due to the fact you simply might get what you're searching for. Remember, the brain is sophisticated and is engineered to embrace vital tasks as compared to different information. By accepting a challenge, you put your thinking in a scenario where it will focal point all its ability to reap the project at hand till it is complete. 2. Poor human beings discuss like they know everything. Arrival symptom is a circumstance whereby an individual feels cozy with their knowledge. In case they're challenged with credible information, they would blow things out of share without considering the facts. If you ever discover yourself in a situation where you are continually right, then you're already in trouble. It's solely a foolish man who might assume that they be aware of the whole thing and in actual sense they know honestly nothing at all. Rich human beings are regarded smarter than terrible human beings because they recognize when to hold quiet and listen. Everybody is an instructor in their own unique way. And even if you may recognize something that I don't, that does not necessarily mean that we are illiterate, however shows how important it is to ask upon what you don't know. If you have a thought, take your time to think about upon it, and if it nevertheless does not turn out to be clear, ask again till you discover any person who will give an explanation for it in a language you find understand. Ever wonder why the boss consults with his workers? This is in all likelihood the reason. We can't comprehend everything. We all want to strengthen a curious mindset where the thought will be in a constant puzzle of perception and imposing the lesson wherever applicable. Don't be afraid to ask, even when you do not get an answer, ask any person else. It doesn't harm at all. 3. Rich human beings believe it is in no way too late to set a new goal. Unlike the negative man who says I'm too historical to acquire something, the rich man has a one-of-a-kind belief. Just from listening to prosperous humans talk, you can sense the hope and simple task inside them. For example, a 70-year-old prosperous man or woman nevertheless has plans for the future, and the strong belief they have is one to envy. The bad, on the other hand, has set an expiration date for getting things achieved and putting new goals. This is where many fail without even realizing it. Being 50 years historical is solely a quantity as long as you're alive and kicking. You cannot just figure out that the existence you are dwelling is impossible to change, even if you wasted the previous a long time or two of your life. Once you quit believing, you are doomed, and solely a cussed poor man does that to themselves. You need to examine how to embrace lifestyles for what it is, and as lengthy as you have any other day to live. Keep planning for that brighter future you've constantly desired for yourself. 5. I do not have time. The Z era is popularly regarded for being the busiest of all different generations. Their time is continually occupied doing something. The huge question, however, is what they're doing advisable to them, though? Honestly, Gen Zs do a lot of insignificant matters that occupy their time except giving excellent results. This is simply like terrible humans who have no time in any respect to rest for the duration of the weekend or even get a hobby. When asked why they don't attend events, you'd likely hear them wallow about how preoccupied they are and just do not have time. On the different hand, the wealthy constantly appear to have time on their palms to do plenty of different things. This is because they realized a new way to speak. Rather than list up a million motives why they cannot attend social events, they realized how to say I can make time for that, and through doing so, they perfected the artwork of delegating tasks. Only selecting the tasks that are most productive to them or their businesses. By doing so, they escape the poor people's entice of being a busyness addict. 6. Rich people speak about danger taking as something admirable. Risk-taking is critical to life. Until you take the risk, you may by no means know what the outcome would have been. For a poor man, risk-taking is something risky and one to be averted at all costs. You'll hear them discovering excuses on why to avoid taking an enterprise chance, while our wealthy population, on the different hand, talks about hazard as an possibility to gain something great. If you've listened to any prosperous man's success story, then you can attest to this. The rich love something risky, something uncertain but promising, and plunge themselves complete-heartedly besides fear. What I've located is that the poor populace expects on-the-spot gratification and expects to enjoy the fruits barring putting in the work. That's why the rich preserve getting richer via day. To succeed in any field, you want to embrace these dangers and take them except fear of dropping something and besides regret. Until the negative understand this, the wide gap between the two social training will only maintain developing wider via the day. 7. Rich people are nearly always extremely good promoters. If you have a rich mindset, you are willing to promote your products, services, and ideas with passion and enthusiasm. Resenting self-promotion is one of the best barriers to success. People who have troubles with selling and advertising typically have a poor mindset. 8. Poor people are continually complaining. Walk up to any desk at an event, and I wager you, in simply 5 minutes, you'll be capable to tell apart the prosperous from the poor. Simply seeing for anybody who whines about anything. They'll complain about how long the working hours have come to be while the pay remains the same. Yet none of them will ever dare to seem to be for different possibilities away from their usual ones. They'll whinge about the weather, the leaders, and even the services provided to them. at sure rates, unlike the rich who've mastered the artwork of avoiding complaints. This does not suggest that they in no way sense like something is incorrect or they obtained unsatisfactory offerings for the rates offered. No way, they just choose to be the problem solvers alternatively than being the complainers. This helps them see possibilities where they can offer attainable customers better services at excellent rates. They in reality use those shortcomings of other businesses and leaders to make a correct buck from it. 9. Poor humans will do nearly something to avoid problems. People with a poor attitude see a mission and they run. The secret to success, my friends, is no longer to attempt to avoid, or get rid of, or cut back from your problems. The secret is to develop yourself so that you are greater than your problems. If you have a massive problem in your life, that capacity you are being a small person. If you prefer to make a permanent change, end focusing on the size of your problems and start focusing on the dimension of you. 10. They are lucky, and I am now not mentality. The greatest destroyer of wealth is thinking that wealth and success revolve round luck. On the experience to riches, you need to get rid of a mindset like this one, continually questioning what other people are doing that you aren't, and blaming your negligence on luck. The recreation is even for everyone, and even these born from terrible backgrounds have the identical risk as a rich kid. This variety of attitude that you don't seem to be fortunate is the variety that maintains you at the bottom forever. Scarcity mindset will make you accuse others of being unlucky, and once in a while you'll even lower your possibilities of success. Do your due diligence and continue to be trustworthy to yourself even when you fail. Instead of finding excuses, try once more and once more until it works out. 11. Rich mindset humans are solution-oriented. The distinction between rich versus bad mindsets comes when humans are confronted with a problem. Rich humans spend their time and electricity strategizing and planning the solutions to challenges that come up and creating structures to make certain that these issues don't happen again. Think of yourself as a container for wealth. If your container is small and your money is big, what's going to happen? You will lose it. Your container will overflow and the extra cash will spill out all over the place. You in reality can't have greater cash than the container. Therefore, you ought to grow to be a large container so you not solely maintain greater wealth, however you additionally entice more wealth. 12. People with a terrible mindset mismanage their money or keep away from the challenge of money altogether. I don't recognize about you, but the place I went to school, Money Management 101 wasn't offered. Instead, we realized about the War of 1812, which of course is something I use each and every single day. The single largest difference between financial success and economic failure is how you control your money. It's simple. To master money, you should control money. Saying, "I'll start managing my cash as quickly as I get caught up," is like an overweight man or woman saying, "I'll start exercising and dieting as soon as I lose 20 pounds. You must gather the habits and skills of managing a small quantity of money before you can have a giant amount. Money is a large part of your life, and when you study how to get your funds underneath control, all areas of your existence will soar. It comes down to this: either you manage money, or it controls you. To manage money, you have to control it. 13. They talk by and large about contrast when it comes to awful speech habits. Comparison may want to be considered as a close cousin to complaining. Most poor human beings indulge in not knowing how detrimental it is to their mental state. You'll hear them comparing their success to their different mates. Additionally, blaming their lack of success on their historical past or something else. While wealthy character in no way compares their lives to all people else, they take something lifestyles has surpassed to them and attempt to make the best of it. By doing so, they permit themselves to tune their minds closer to superb thinking. In return, they quit upgrowing matters and building opportunities for themselves and others. To get away from this habit, you need to realize that life isn't always truthful to any of us. Instead, center of attention on utilizing something you've been given in your life. 14. Poor humans say if you choose something achieved right, you have to do it yourself. Unlike the rich, bad humans are large believers in the homemade concept every time you desire results. They claim that nothing tasked to any individual else will ever yield consequences whilst taking up all the tasks themselves. In a common startup owned by a negative person, you'll discover that even after 5 years he is the solely employee, not realizing that you can't be the whole thing in the lengthy run and nevertheless reap last commercial enterprise success. You have to launch some of the duties to humans who comprehend what they are doing. Maybe that is the secret ingredient the rich people add to their businesses, and that makes them a success. 15. Rich human beings discuss funding. Whenever you come around prosperous folks, you may locate that they're constantly speaking about their investments. They're unafraid that their friends may steal their ideas and run away with them. Unlike poor humans who are very secretive about the things they make investments in, thus lacking out on the hazard of getting free recommendation for their family and friends. This is the place the prosperous get insight on some changes they could make on their funding that make them special and successful. The takeaway these days is that wealthy humans communicate positively. They are greater confident than the common man. Do you talk like a wealthy character or a negative person? The good thing is, no matter what side you fall on, it's in no way too late to talk rich. Realize what components of your speech are crippling your attitude and chorus from them, because, ultimately, what you say unconsciously feeds your thoughts. So, thank you all so plenty for watching, and before you go, be aware to subscribe to the channel and depart a like for that YouTube algorithm.